A little bit of a soul sweet Termador here from Soul Healing Tribe, and today I want to talk to you about 4 things that you don't know about clairvoyancy. And the number one is when we speak about clairvoyancy, which is different than telepathy, right? Sometimes people confuse it with telepathy because there are some similarities, but telepathy really is about perceiving emotional, mental platforms, consciously or unconsciously, like the empath. When we are going through really waking up our empath ability, we start perceiving emotional, mental, even physical sensations that somebody else is receiving that is here alive, right? Which is different than clairvoyancy, when we can perceive and even communicate with energies, non-organic energies that are in the astral plane. Now, there is a little bit a session to that, and I'm going to explain that in a little later. So, number one, like we say, is the difference between telepathy and clairvoyancy, where telepathy is really perceiving physical, emotional, mental thought forms from someone that is alive right here, right now, in front of you, or across the planet, that is somehow connected with you. Now, where clairvoyancy is perceiving, sensing, and even communicating, hearing, using the astral senses. Just like we have the physical senses, we also have our astral senses. So number two is really that in our solar plexus, we have such a power center. It's like a generator. And there is a gift there that a lot of people don't realize that we have. And that gift is to be able to become aware of the astral, what is happening with us here in this reality, in this 3D reality, but also what is happening around us that is in another plane of existence in the astral plane. So just because we cannot see the astral plane, everything is on top of each other, right? So the astral plane, when we can perceive what is happening in the astral plane with the power that we have in the solar plexus, we can understand and sense that something is off. And normally this happens, when you have that feeling. I don't know if you ever had that feeling where you feel like something is a little off here, or something smells funny, but I don't know what it is. Or you have this weird feeling coming up from the lower back, going up, and you just feel like, oh, something is just funny here. Or what will be this word? Is this even a word? Like that feeling of like something is wrong, but it's like dumbness to it, like something is definitely off and you have no idea what it is. That may be because your solar plexus is picking up on energy, which is your, the astral senses. When you have that activated, and sometimes it's done consciously or unconsciously, when we pick up what's happening in the astral plane, we're picking up information through the energy waves that are around us, right? So even non-organic energies have information to share. So that information in form of energy is going to come in contact with our energy so that we are able to perceive it in a way so that we can be like, oh, that something is off here. Like, what is going on here? That is another way. So in the solar plexus, we have a power give I call it a generator, because now if it's not in balance, that there's work to do there. But when it is in balance, you are able to pick up things that normally you wouldn't be able to notice before. So the more that you start noticing things, the more you know that you are aligning that power center in the solar plexus. So the number 3 thing is that sometimes people don't realize that our thoughts can take an astral form. And I think I explained a little bit about this before. I know I did a TikTok video before. I don't know if I made one for YouTube, but our thoughts can create an astral form. And that astral form will take shape. And the more energy you give that form through our emotions, the more it becomes like a shadow figure. So it may even look like a shadow figure. It may look like a non-organic energy, like a ghost or something like that. or even like a monster, depending on the thoughts that are associated with what you're feeling and what you're creating when you think about that unconsciously or consciously. For example, shame is a big one. Shame can take a form, and sometimes it may even look like a monster because of the way that it haunts the way that we feel, right? Like that shame that we feel when we don't want to think about the things that we have done or that we have experienced and that cause us so much shame can take a specific form that you give it unconsciously or consciously. Normally it's unconsciously. And through that process, it will take a form in the astral planes, in the astral realm. Now, the other thing is that you can also create, even if you're very healthy, which is, this is a gift that normally people that are more advanced are going to be able to have, is that you can create a form that you can transform that form into another place in this planet, whatever, and be able to be seen by someone that has the ability to perceive astral energies, because it is basically like an astral form that you are creating a copy of you to be able to transform that part of you to another place and be able to capture things, not just be there, but to capture things and be seen. So when we think about the astral form, normally, when it is low vibration emotions, it's going to be attracting astral larva, and that astral larva, the parasites, are going to start creating this thing that you have, this thought form, whether it is shame, guilt, fear, whatever, jealousy, envy, and that is going to give shape to it. And the more energy you have given to this thought form, the more it can act in a way that can even become a part of you that haunts you, not just like because you have the feeling, but also because you have created this energy being that can actually be always with you and even keep you in that loop, right? Even the way that trauma works in the brain, we know that there is a part of the brain that stays in that experience. But what a lot of people don't know from the spiritual perspective is that because we give it a form, that thing grows with us. And when you're 12, it might even look like you're 12. When you are 20, it might, because you continue to feed that form. So number 4, the final one for today's video, is going to be that when we get triggered, especially when energies, vibrations, when we are really, really triggered or super, super happy, that energy of the discharge of that emotion is going to allow that form to be created in that moment. It may only last seconds. It may last a long time if you have an issue with anger, rage, or being super, super happy to the point that you just want to explode. At that moment, a thought form can be created. How this is related to clairvoyancy, though, is because, for example, let's say you are a jealous person and you think your boyfriend is cheating on you. What you could do in that moment of anger, when you think, oh my God, I think he's cheating on me, you can actually create a thought form, consciously or unconsciously, that goes to check on this person. If the person is there with somebody else and either of them have the ability to perceive the astral realm, they're going to be able also to perceive you are the thought form that you created, that you transported there. And normally the reason why this is important is because when we create such a strong emotion discharge, when people are playing games and they are getting angry because they're losing, in that moment, they can create a thought form. Sometimes it stays lingering, it disappears within seconds or minutes, depending how much energy was put into that moment, into that thought, in that moment of losing or playing the game over and over for many hours or whatever you were doing. Or if you're super happy in a baseball game, football game, in that moment, if it is so much to the point that it just becomes insane, you actually can create at that form. Now, as a collective people in a stadium, we also can create that form of happiness or joy, whatever it is, or competition and winning and whatever it is. So clairvoyancy is a gift that we have to develop. Sometimes people naturally tap into these abilities because it's something that is natural to us. When it comes to ancestral spiritual practices, we can also see how that happens in some of the ancestral spiritual practices like 21 divisions, Ifa, Palo, Spiritism, Voodoo, Hoodoo, whatever, right? How that happens is that you might notice that a lot of people, clairvoyancy, right? A lot of people in those practices may need to lose 100% consciousness in order for them to do, to allowing energy to enter, to allow healing to be done. That is also a very developed form of clairvoyancy in all the clairs, right? Because trance mediumship and channeler abilities, a lot of these clairvoyancy abilities are correlated to those abilities of being able to channel, hear, communicate, and perceive what needs to be done through communication with these other disembodied energies of the light of or whatever they are, or the misterios or the muertos that you're working with, the death and so on. So clairvoyancy development is crucial before you get to the point where you really understand what's happening when you are communicating with these energies in order for you to advance. So my suggestions will be definitely meditate, because that is the number one way that you need to really learn to calm your mind, to like really get rid of the conscious mind, right? So that you can understand how to perceive and work with your astral senses. Now, obviously, at one point, when you become really advanced and you are able to consciously at will move your conscious mind to the side and enter into the astral senses with your conscious mind at the same time, because just because you put it to the side doesn't mean that it's gone. You're still conscious. It's just that you don't let it control you and perceive what you need to perceive, so you don't get in the way. Your desires and needs and wants don't get in the way. So when somebody's doing divination and they're able to pull themselves to the side and really channel the energy or tap into the client's energy of who they are reading, what they're doing is that they're putting their conscious mind to the side and really focusing all of their energies and clairs and astral senses to tap into that specific person that they're reading for, right? Whichever way that they're doing that. It could be with nothing and just really connecting. Some people are even calling it now remote viewing, which is fine. It can be with cars, it could be with the shells, it could be with the coffee, it could be with the tobacco, whatever it may be, or with nothing, or in a dream. So just by meditating as well. So when you let go of the conscious senses of who you are and you move it to the side and you tap into the astral senses of yourself in order for you to connect with that other person, you can start developing your abilities and your astral senses. So my suggestions will be, start asking people if you have permission to tap into what they may be feeling, what is going on with them, and start practicing. It could be a cousin, it could be someone that you know that you don't have any expectations of what are going to be the answers, because the moment that you have expectations, you're going to lose what you need to do. All right, I'm going to leave it there for now, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.